I have used the DeepSeek R1 model for the past 8 days. And today I'm going to talk about everything that I've learned and know about the DeepSeek R1 model, starting from how to create an account, to comparing the differences between DeepSeek R1 and ChatGPT 4.0 free version, and ultimately how you can download these models locally on your computer and run it without any internet access, keeping your data safe within yourself. And I'm going to ask difficult questions from all of these undergrad fields of studies, and I'm going to put them into test: reasoning abilities, their logical abilities, and how well they can deal with these answers. You can see all of the timestamps here right now so that you can jump around the video and choose the best moments that's only required for you. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the video. I would like to request you to go to the status.deepseek.com because I'd like to show you one thing before I start the video. So if you're ever suspecting that the DeepSeek account is down or it's not working properly as it should, you should visit status.deepseek.com to see what's actually up. So as you can see right now, at the time of recording, this is 31st January 2025, and you can see that there is a major outage going on and there is a degraded performance. So things might not be at the best of the DeepSeek's abilities if I compare it with ChatGPT right now, but I'm still going to do it, and I'll show you how you can create a DeepSeek account and what's the actual difference between DeepSeek and the ChatGPT 4.0 free version. So to create a DeepSeek account, you have to go to chat.deepseek.com. And here you can create an account. Okay, it's saying that due to large scale of malicious attacks, the DeepSeek service registration may be busy. Please wait. Registered users can normally. Thank you for understanding. Okay, let me try to log in with my Google account. Okay, sign into DeepSeek account. Okay, so that's how you can create your own DeepSeek account by going to chat.deepseek.com. Before we start, just to give you a brief overview about the interface of DeepSeek, as you can see here, that this is the chat list, and if you do not select this DeepThink R1 model, and if you just say normal message, let's say hi here, it's just giving me a normal message. But if you select this DeepThink R1 option and you give hi, then let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see the thought process, the chain of thought here. It thinks before it replies if you select this DeepThink R1 model. Now, if you select this search option as well, and if you give hi, it's going to search the internet and come up with its own reason and give you the best possible reasoned answer to your prompt. So let's see what happens. Okay, it says, sorry, DeepSeek search service is busy. Please disable search option. Okay, I understand. So if you disable the search option, here you can attach files as well, but you can upload documents and images that are 50 to 100 MB, 100 megabytes at max. It does not understand like the objects or humans that well compared to text. So it's going to do a good job with text document, but not maybe abstract pictures. Now we're going to test both of these models. So it's upon you to judge which model wins, especially if you are studying in that particular field and you're completing your undergrad in that particular field. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. At first, explain your answer in the way that it needs to be answered, then explain your answer in such a way that anyone can understand. This part will help people like you and me understand the fields that we don't understand. On the left-hand side, there's DeepSeek, and on the right-hand side, there's ChatGPT. Okay, I'll go to DeepThink first because DeepThink will take longer time to answer because it will think. It will show the thinking process before it finally replies to me. Okay, so DeepThink, here we go. And ChatGPT, here we go. Okay, it's giving me two answers here. Okay, this is one thing that I like about ChatGPT, that they're taking constant responses. It feels like they're trying to get better every day. I did associate marks with it as well. Like I give 20 marks for each question, so because I want the model just to understand the depth that I'm requiring from their answer. Let's get into it. Okay. Business ethics analysis of Volkswagen emissions, decision-making process and organizational culture. Volkswagen decision to install defeat devices stem from a combination of unethical decision-making, pressure to meet stringent environment regulations, and aggressive corporate culture. 6 different stakeholders. Okay. But I feel like it could have explained a bit better, maybe. Like it would, since it's a 20-mark question, it would have added more depth to the answers. Marketing strategies. Since I asked how it can rebrand itself, how as the marketing manager, the head of marketing of Volkswagen, I wish it did like go into the more nitty-gritty details and use some of the marketing terms and concepts that can be used, like some advertising campaigns maybe, or PR collaborations. It does not mention any of that. And maybe long-term plans as to how you can slowly but surely change the perception of the public when it comes to Volkswagen's brand image. It could have answered those and put it in those answers, but okay, let's look at the reasoning. By aligning, reasoning is too short, according to me. It did touch upon a lot of points, but it did not go deep. Let's make it simple. Okay, what happened with VW? VW cheated emissions tests using secret software cars. Marketing, how to win back customers, say sorry and fix the problem, go green, that's a good one, smart ads and all those things. Okay, I'll put the final answer in the screen, even though it's very big. I'll try to put it. It did cover a lot of points, but it did not go deep. That's my final evaluation. Now let's go to DeepSeek. Okay, so it did think for 31 seconds here, and you can see its thought process, and it's like, okay, let's tackle Volkswagen case study. It's a complex question with multiple parts, true, so I need to break it down step by step. The user wants an analysis from a business ethics perspective. Okay, so it's considering Volkswagen's part as well as to why could they have went into that decision, the defeat decision process. Okay, that's a good start. As a head of HR, it's retracking. Wait, but I need to make sure each part is detailed enough. Let me check the section again. This is actually a cool thing because it's catching itself and then it's tracing back to make the answer more cohesive or as cohesive as possible. Decision-making process. Volkswagen's decision to install defeat devices stemmed from a combination of competitive pressure to dominate the US market, insular culture. Okay, this is an interesting term here. So on the left-hand side is ChatGPT, and on the right-hand side is DeepSeek. It did start off with talking about the organizational culture, which is, I think, is a very good start. Stakeholder impact, customer, employees. In this part as well, I feel DeepSeek could have explained a bit more, but it did mention about the organizational culture, which ChatGPT 4.0 did not. Just a disclaimer, that is, this is not the most advanced version of ChatGPT. To get the access to the most advanced version of ChatGPT, you have to pay for like $200 a month, maybe, or maybe you do get some access with the $20 per month package as well. But I am comparing both of them because it's the same when it comes to pricing, which is free, but it might not be the same when it comes to intelligence. But then again, we just saw right now that DeepSeek is having a major outage. So it's for you guys to decide which one is the best here. Both of these models did not go deep into the stakeholders' impact part, cultural reform. This is a important part. Both of these models seem to be on par up until now. Let's see what happens. Public apology, transparency. Okay, let's go to the simple explanation part. Here in the head of finance strategy, it did mention about green bonds, strategic partnerships, government grants. Okay. Simplified explanation. Each role addresses a facet of recovery, marketing rebuilds, trust through honesty and green innovation. HR keeps employees motivated with HR support and clarity. I feel like the simplified explanation of DeepSeek is a bit too short and could have explained more things like what does it mean by green innovation, whereas ChatGPT, I think it did do that. What happened with VW, it started with explaining the context. It's a tie here. I think both of these models answer quality was kind of similar, and none of them went into the depth that I would have liked it to go into. But here's the answer. I'll try to put it on the screen. Now it's for you guys to decide which one won the business battle. Okay, now let's move on to psychology here. I have a complex psychology question. For all of these questions, it's a mixture of my own questions and my own addition, and some of the questions that I got from the internet, and some AI stuff, obviously, as well. Psychology students, it's your turn now to decide which model performed the best here. I'm going to create a new chat. Thought for 23 seconds, but ChatGPT just gave the answer directly here. Historically, abnormal behavior has been understood through different lenses, evolving from supernatural explanations and medical and psychological theories. Okay. Example, the Salem witch trials 1692 saw many people, especially women, executed for behaviors now understood as symptoms of mental illness. So sad. I'm sorry for them. I wish it did give these the approximate time frame here. That would have helped me to understand which period of history is it talking about. It did give it here, but there's no specific time frame or approximate time frame in here. Okay. 19th century to present psychological tradition. People have viewed strange behavior over time. A long time ago, if someone acted strangely, like hearing voices or being very sad all the time, people thought it was evil spirits. Thought evil spirits, witchcraft were to blame. Okay, now let's go to DeepSeek. I need to make sure I cover both questions in depth. For the first one, make sure to connect historical views to current real-life implications. Correct. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think ChatGPT mentioned any of these behavioral theories in this way. Behaviorism. It did talk about biological determinism, psychological determinism, environmental determinism, but not about Freudian. Historically, abnormal behavior has been interpreted through supernatural, biological, and psychological lenses. View persisted, but some Islamic scholars, okay, it's mentioning scholars, I like that, were often custodial rather than therapeutic. It's giving us a simplified explanation for each of the questions rather than the final questions at the very end. Okay. So long ago, people thought the mental illness was caused by demons or gods. They'd try to cure it by drilling holes. Okay, both of these models did mention about the fact of drilling holes. I liked how the DeepSeek R1 model mentioned some of the pioneers of psychology and how it changed the course of history. On the other hand, I like how ChatGPT talked about some of these models and the structure, the overall structure. I think DeepSeek's one was better because it gave simplified explanations for each of these questions, academic explanation for each of those questions as well. So it's, from a reader's perspective, it's easier to read. But psychology students, you decide which one of these answers were the best. Now let's move on to computer science and engineers. CAC students, I need your help right now. These are some CAC questions that I found on the internet, MCQ questions, and some explanation of these MCQ questions, and some scenario-based questions here you can see as well. For question 1, the first part is about whether the sort method in Python's list has a side effect. It gives some code as well. Python code. Okay, it's done answering. Oh no, it's still answering. Exploring network latency. The idea. Simplified explanation for beginners. Python questions. Changes the list directly. Side effect. Okay, that's a very poor, simplified explanation. Nah, I'm not impressed. Let's go to ChatGPT. True. 1.2 is true. 1.3 is true. Both of them are saying it's true. 1.4 is false. Both of them are saying it's false. I like these explanations here. It sounds a little bit more clear compared to DeepSeek. But okay, this is the simple explanation part. Sort modifies the list in place, which is why it has a side effect. Both of these models failed, according to me, in terms of simplifying the explanation to a common man. I'll put the answers here of both of the models. TC lads, you choose which model won in this contest. Now let's go to our last and final method, final field of study, which is nursing. It's a very important profession because they're going to take care of us when we will be sick. They're going to take care of us, of our health, and when people will go to them, it might be a situation of life and death. So it's very important that we have quality nurses. Oh, you can create a new chat by pressing here as well. So multiple options using which you can create a new chat in DeepSeek. 3 options. First is here at the top left corner, then in the top right corner, and at the very end of your specific chat. Okay, let's tackle these questions one by one. I'll start with the first one. 65 years old, male. Question is asking which factor is most important for the nurse to consider. The options are A through F. Let me just go straight into the simplified explanation part for general understanding. Let's see which model performed the best here in terms of breaking down the things to an ordinary person. For general understanding, the patient has heart failure, which means the heart is weak. We can watch kidney function closely, check blood tests, creatinine. That was quite easy to understand, but I don't know how accurate it is. Now let's go to DeepSeek. Simplified explanation is quite short here, I can see, but let me read it out. The treatment must carefully relieve lung fluid without harming the kidneys. Use for diuretics, formicide in a small. Okay, in the GPT-4o answer, it did explain what is furosemide and it did give me some context, whereas in the simplified explanation part, at least, DeepSeek did not give that to me. Simplified explanation part was better in ChatGPT 4o's version. But in terms of the depth of the explanations, both of these models sound similar according to the brief overview. So, nursing students, give me your judgment in the comments down below. Which model performed the best when it comes to the nursing questions? Keep in mind that DeepSeek is going through an outreach. As I showed you before, it's facing a degrading performance because of malicious attacks. No wonder who's doing it. And out of these 4 questions, like let's say the total marks is 4, which model do you think outperformed the other, and what would you rate each of these models? In the comment section down below. Now, if I go to the status or DeepSeek page again, you can see that in the API version is currently having a major outage for the last few days, but we are using the web version, and the web version did also face a few days of outages due to some technical issues and unfortunate reasons. Good thing is, DeepSeek is open source, which means you can download it locally on your computer. You can use it totally with the internet. You can see the code, you can see the structure if you're a developer, and you can learn from it and you can customize it to some extent. That's the power of open source model. Imagine that you're in the deepest desert, you're in the darkest forest, and all you have is a laptop, and you need some advice to get out of this. You need some strategies, you need some brainstorming abilities and cognitive methods of something that has way more knowledge than you to get out of this, especially if you are concerned about your data. Even though no matter whether it's the Chinese government or the American government or OpenAI or DeepSeek, all of these companies do take some of your data, a lot of your data. But the thing is, DeepSeek is open source, which means the version that I used currently in the web, you can download it locally on your computer if you have strong enough hardware. Now, obviously, the web version is the biggest and the most competent version of DeepSeek. It's a 671 billion parameter version, but DeepSeek did release some of its distilled versions that are mighty as well. It can run on consumer and laptops and PCs. Released the 1.5 billion parameter version, released the 7 billion parameter version, it released the 8 billion parameter version, the 14 billion parameter version, all up to the main DeepSeek model, which OpenAI did not do. If you look into DeepSeek, you can see the thinking process. You can see what it went through, the thought process before it actually gave you the answer. Now, this is actually a premium feature of OpenAI. They charge $200 for it every single month. They're charging you money. DeepSeek just gave it to you for free. And now suddenly the investors and the people are like, wait, you do not need such huge amount of budgeting and funding to get these competent models. So why are you charging all of these money from us? It has no base. People are thinking like that. And that's why the stock market, it crashed just because of this one model. And more interestingly, Nvidia, the company that designs these chips and super powerful GPUs, US government did put a barrier to trade when it comes to Nvidia exporting those chips and GPUs to China, which means that they used less powerful GPUs and computers to train something that's equally, if not more, in some cases more competent than the OpenAI O1 preview and the main model. You can use this model, this specific step-by-step tutorial to run DeepSeek R1 distilled models locally on your computer. Only the 671 billion parameters model would be as competent as the main website version when it comes to the output answers. But if you have a slow model, if you have a slow computer that does not support it, the answer would be very slow and it would not even run properly if you do not have the competent hardware. The smallest one, the 1.5 billion parameters one, is the fastest, and it does also the thinking process like any DeepSeek R1 model does. But the answer will not be as good as the main 671 billion parameter models. So as the parameters goes up, it means that it has more data and it can give more coherent output, but the speed of the output generation reduces. It becomes significantly slower. So you have to choose which model is the best for your purpose. You have to search on Google LM Studio download. LM Studio helps you to run these models locally on your computer and download them locally on your computer. Go to this link and it supports Mac, it supports Windows, and it supports Linux. Llama 3.2 is Meta's open source large language model, which means it's Meta's large language model which you can download as well, just like DeepSeek. This is Gemma, which means this is Google's local model that you can download. Not Gemini, it's Gemma, it's different. And this is DeepSeek that's causing havoc in the US tech industry. So I'm using Windows, so I'll click on Windows here. If you're using Mac, click on Mac. If you're using Linux, click on Linux. The download process and the installation process should be similar despite what operating system that you're using. So once the exe file is downloaded, go to the top right downloads icon here in your browser. You can go to the exe file. You can choose anyone. I'll choose only for me and I'll go to next. And then you can change your path here. I'll keep it as the default and I'll press install. Keep this option on, like run LM Studio, and then you click on finish. Okay, so here you can see a similar chat interface compared to like ChatGPT or DeepSeek, and on the top left you can see 4 options here. In the discover tab you can search for different models and download them from there, and then in the models tab you can see the list of all of your models information. In the developer tab, I'm not so sure about it, I did not use it that much, and we are currently in the chats tab. Like you can create different chats with different models, just like how you can do in ChatGPT. Just download a model. When you're looking for a model, make sure that you have this GGUF option turned on, because it ensures that you are downloading the models that are fit enough for your computer. So I'll put in the exact concept of GGUF and the definitions right here so that you can clearly understand what I mean here. I'm going to download the DeepSeek model, right? DeepSeek. So I have already downloaded the DeepSeek 1.5 billion parameter model, and now I'll just load it up in the chat and you can see how it performs. You should press here and then select this, and then this is basically what, like, how much context the model can take and all those things. These are deep settings. I need to create another video if you want to know more about these things, or you can watch other videos. If you want me to create another video, another studio, then please comment it down below. So nothing is connected right now. Nothing is connected right now. And see the magic. It's processing the prompt first, and wow, it already started to think. Okay, so you can read the thought process of this model. It's totally offline. It's happening all by itself. Encouraging them to feel comfortable. Wait, this person has any preferences? Okay, it's backtracking. Oh, I wonder if they might have dietary restrictions. Oh, that's an important consideration. Let's see whether this model considers this factor in the final answer. Now, I recommend you to at least have 100 gigabytes of space free in your laptop, and it's better if you have at least 16 GB of RAM. What does this mean for all of us? Well, I'm not a tech expert or anything like that, but this is my personal thought. It means that we have now more creative power than ever. We can use these open source models, we can use these LLMs, and it will not judge us. It will be your most competent assistant. If you're a doctor and you are facing a complex case and your team is facing a complex case, maybe a highly reliable model can help you think through different perspectives from different research papers and all those things. If you're a student and you want to do something in life, you can build upon these existing infrastructures, these existing models, and you can even ask them to help you solve your issues. Right now, the future is uncertain. The future has always been uncertain, but it kind of seems exciting and uncertain. Sure, there are a lot of sufferings going on in this world, and they're very, very deep, and there is no like simple solution to these. It's very multifaceted, it's very complex, it's very deep in a way that one person cannot solve. It has to be a communal effort to tackle those things and to tackle those uncertainties and to tackle those sadness and the dark side of humanity. But out of competition sometimes can come good things like these technologies. You see, if there was no competition between Soviet Union and America, probably we wouldn't have gone to the moon. Probably our technological progress would have been much slower. That is the benefit of having competition in the market. Sure, it can lead to companies doing malicious activities and exploiting labor, and those things should be dealt with, and there should be strict guidelines in a way that it has to be implemented. But this thing is also a good side of competition, where it benefits people like you and me. You can also download the DeepSeek app from Google Play Store and log in to your account and use the DeepSeek app from your phone. We're going to see a lot of applications and implications out of these technologies as it starts to evolve. And we are already seeing this. We've already seen this for the past 2 years. And we have seen different AI companies coming up, video editing companies, copywriting companies, creative writing companies, helping us to explore our creative sides. And I did talk with one of the founders of such a company. If you're more interested to learn more about that, about running a startup, about generative AI and all those things, click in the link above to see and to really get into the depth of what it's like to run an AI company. If you are more interested into the papers and the technical nitty-gritty details, I'll give the links of those in the description below as well. That's it for today. If you want me to make videos on similar topics, and if you want me to explore how students can make use of these tools and technologies, and how people in general can use these technologies and its applications, and you want me to share my thoughts on these things, please comment it down below. I'll be more than happy to respond.